Once, in a small town, there lived a shoemaker who had fallen into dire poverty. Through no fault of his own, he found himself with nothing left but enough leather to make a single pair of shoes. Determined to make the best of his situation, he spent the evening cutting out the shoes he planned to work on the next day. With a clear conscience, he lay down in his bed, whispered a prayer of gratitude, and drifted off to sleep. When dawn broke, the shoemaker rose, ready to tackle his task. To his astonishment, he found the shoes completely finished on his workbench. They were crafted with such precision that not a single stitch was out of place. The shoemaker picked them up, marveling at the craftsmanship, and wondered who could have made them. A customer soon arrived, drawn by the exquisite shoes. Pleased with what he saw, he paid more than the usual price, enabling the shoemaker to purchase enough leather for 2 pairs of shoes. That night, he cut out the leather again, eager to work with renewed hope. But once more, he awoke to find the shoes already made. This pattern continued. The more he cut out, the more was completed by morning. In no time, his fortunes changed, and he became prosperous, regaining his independence and eventually amassing wealth. As Christmas approached, the shoemaker and his wife discussed the mysterious help that had transformed their lives. "What if we stay up tonight to discover who is helping us?" he proposed. Intrigued, his wife agreed. They lit a candle and hid behind a curtain, eager to uncover the secret. At midnight, 2 small, naked figures appeared. The shoemaker and his wife watched in awe as these little men sat at the table and began to work. Their fingers moved with remarkable speed and skill as they stitched and hammered, turning the cut-out leather into beautiful shoes. The shoemaker could hardly believe his eyes. They worked tirelessly until all was finished, and then they dashed away into the night. The next morning, the shoemaker's wife declared, "These little men have made us rich. We must show our gratitude. They must be cold, running about without clothes. I'll make them shirts, coats, and trousers, and knit them stockings. You can make them shoes, too." The shoemaker wholeheartedly agreed, and they spent the day preparing gifts for their mysterious benefactors. That night, they laid the neatly finished clothes and shoes on the table, replacing the cut-out leather. Then they hid once more, anxious to see what the little men would do. As midnight struck, the 2 figures returned, eager to work. But when they discovered the table covered in clothing instead of leather, they paused in surprise. Their expressions quickly shifted to delight as they dressed in the new garments, singing joyfully, "Now we are boys so fine to see. Why should we longer cobblers be?" With laughter and merriment, they danced and skipped around the room, their joy infectious. Eventually, they leaped out into the night, their laughter echoing in the air. From that day forward, the little men never returned, but the shoemaker's success only continued to grow. With the newfound riches, he expanded his shop, hiring apprentices to help him craft even more exquisite shoes. The townsfolk flocked to his store, drawn by the quality of his work and the reputation he had built. Soon, he was known not just as the best shoemaker in town, but as a generous benefactor. He shared his wealth with those in need, helping the less fortunate and ensuring that his community thrived. The shoemaker and his wife lived a life filled with joy and contentment, always remembering the little figures who had once changed their fate. Years later, as the shoemaker reflected on his journey, he realized that his success was not just about wealth, but about the kindness he had received and the kindness he had given in return. His heart swelled with gratitude, knowing that true prosperity came from sharing one's fortune with others. And so, he continued to live a life of abundance, forever thankful for the mysterious help that had come to him in his time of need.